Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's my first video. In this series, we'll be exploring open source projects. The first one we're going to be going into is Nitro JS. So pretty much Nitro JS is part of the UnJS world, which is a collection of framework agnostic JavaScript libraries. And Nitro is actually the server engine behind Nuxt and behind TanStack Start. So what exactly is Nitro? Nitro is a production-ready server that you can just it's supposed to be zero config. So what we're going to do in this video is so they actually just launched their new version V3 in alpha, which is supposed to be a zero config plug and play with Vite with a Vite. My bad, this one throws me off every time. And we'll be just doing a quick demo of how we can just integrate Nitro into Vite and get a full stack app going in Vite from a front end. So let's start off here in the terminal. Let's get, we'll be running npm create Vite at latest. And just wait for it to run. We're going to be naming our project Nitro Demo. And we'll be using React, plain TypeScript, no. And yeah, we'll start it now. Take a few seconds to load, or a little more than a few seconds. I'm going to skip this part so we don't have to sit here for a few minutes. It's taking longer than I thought. There we go. All right, if we go to localhost, we see we have our classic Vite plus React project, which count. That's pretty much nothing special about it. And all right, now let's just jump into the code. So let's go cd nitro demo. I'll be using Z, or you can be using VS Code if you guys like. I'm just experimenting with Z. Hopefully in future videos we'll be exploring Z a bit more and how to set it up. I'm still with the standard setup. Leave your comment below which theme you like the best. We first now need to add Nitro to our project. So let's go with Nitro, not Nitro, npm install Nitro. But once it's loaded, we'll have to update our vconfig file. So let's just get that open. All right, we're good. And in plugins, we will add Nitro. And we actually want that import Nitro and from Nitro /v. All right, there we go. All right, so now we got Nitro in our project. Let's create some routes and see how it works. So Nitro uses a file-based routing system. So let's go over here and create a folder called routes. And inside that, we'll create a directory called hello. And inside there, we'll create a file called index.get.ts. So essentially what this is, we're creating a route that routes to /hello, and it's a get method. You can change get with put, patch, delete, whichever you like. So now we'll write a quick function, export default, event handler. And Nitro uses H3. And here we'll just return hello world. And we'll save that. And oh, we got double overhead here. All right, there we go. Now we're good. All right, now let's run our project, npm run dev. And now if we go to localhost 3000, we will see that, and now if we go to /hello, we hit our server endpoint /hello. So now we can create also a route that takes parameters. So let's just go back to our folder hello, control new, and put in brackets name dot ts. And again, we're going to be using the event handler, export default event handler. And here we're using the event. So let's go with event and and const name is equal to get router param. And we'll be passing an event and the name of our parameter, which is name. And now when we return, we can return hello name, just like that. So now if we now go back to our server, we can go to hello /David, and boom, we got hello David. So this is how we do routing with Nitro. Another cool feature that Nitro supports is database supports, plug and play with the database. So we need to create a Nitro config file. So let's create a new file, nitro.config.ts. And inside we're going to be using export default. And we'll be using define nitro config. And now let's define. So it's still an experimental feature. So we'll be using experimental, and database will be true. And we'll now be adding also database, and we'll be using default, and connector, we'll just be using SQLite, as people call it. And options, let's give it a name, and we'll give it just DB. There we go. All right, now let's test it out. So let's first create a route that gets to hits the DB. So let's go back into routes. Let's create a path called DB, and inside there, let's just create index.get.ts, because we'll be using a get method again. All right, so now let's do export default event handler, and we won't be taking in any parameters this time. And we'll be using const db is equal to use database from Nitro runtime. And now we have access to our database. So let's go with try await db. Now here's where we just write raw SQL db, oh my bad, db.sql. Now here's where we write our raw SQL, select one. Essentially what this is doing is if it returns success, the DB is active, otherwise it will fail. So here return status, and we'll say status, and we'll say here DB connection successful. And now let's put our catch, and error, and we'll say return status DB connection failed, and we'll also return the error. And we forgot to make it async, of course, because we're using the wait here, calling the DB. All right, now let's just restart our server just to make sure that it's running now with the Nitro config. And let's get over here. And if we go to /db, we should be get connection successful, which is pretty awesome. All right. That is all for today, showing how to just set up Nitro into a Vite project. Um, I mean, I'm not going to go more into it. You can now call from app.tsx. You can just call. You do use effect and fetch from the server, and just use it in your front end, like you would with any full stack app. And that's all for today. Leave your comment below and subscribe and subscribe for more videos like this. Hope they come out good. And that's all for today. Thank you.